Hello, it's Jay here again, and welcome to another tutorial. So in this lesson we're going to do something a little bit different again. We're actually going to begin work on some of the visual effects. We'll begin with the player GUI, and I just want to get these in place and make things easier to see how things, once we get more gameplay mechanics in place, it'll just make it easier to see and test out. I'm actually going to begin with the manager script, and I'm going to hit F2, and I'm actually going to change this to game manager. So let's just open this script up, and I'll change the public class here. Also, you'll need to do both, otherwise you'll get errors. So once we've done that, as you can see, we still have red errors. That's where we've referenced this script. So what I'm going to do is just click on the red errors, block movement, this one, and there's just 3 more. We have to change here. Let's have a look, manager. And I will come back off camera. I won't change any code, but I'll just tidy everything up. As regards to the comments, I'll probably break these into 2 lines. But again, I'm sure you're all perfectly capable of doing that yourself. So let's just save that all off. And there we go, all our errors have disappeared. Let's come back to the project. As you can see, the icon's now changed. I was going to do things a little bit different, but I changed my mind. I thought this way it'll just be simpler and easier. So we'll change that to the game manager script. Now we've done that. Now we've corrected the errors, we'll close the block script and we'll come to the game manager. So again, we need to create some variables. These are going to be of public static ints. The first one, underscore screen width offset, and we'll just get this into the comments. So creates a variable to store the screen width offset, and you can put for player GUI if you wish. And let's just copy that whole line. We'll actually paste it in twice more. And I'm sure you've guessed the next one's going to be changed to height. And this one's going to be changed completely. It's still going to be a static int, but it's going to be underscore player GUI font size. Let's change the comments to store the player GUI font size. I'll come below void update. Yeah, this can be of type private void update settings. So I'm actually going to keep the GUI fairly simple. Certainly more simple than I've done in the other tutorials, just because I don't want to spend too long on it. But of course, if you want a more in-depth on how GUI can be constructed, I do have other videos. Look at my other series. There's lots of videos on GUI. So please don't worry about that. So anyway, the game manager script, we've created the update settings function. We're just going to come to the void start. We're going to call this function on start. So let's just put that in the comments. And we'll also call this function if we change anything in our options menu, which will be coming later. But for now we've called that function, let's come to update settings, and what we're going to do is say screen width offset is going to equal, in brackets, an int. So this is just in case you get a float value from the following equation. It will round it off to the nearest int. And that's all we need really. The closest int will be absolutely fine. The equation we're going to use again, in brackets, is going to be screen.width, and we're going to say divide by 70, close the line off into the comments, and what we're going to do is say we're going to set the variable, the offset, to equal the, and I'll just put the equation, shall I, now let's put it all in, screen width, I'll put divided by value, cast to nearest int, you can put that in if you want. I was just thinking then, because I really don't want to put the value 70, so we'll just say by divided by value. This is just in case we come back and tweak this value later. But once we've done that, let's copy and paste that in again, and obviously this is going to be for the height offset. And we'll say divided by 40 this time. And we'll copy this one last time. Let's paste that in. So player GUI font size is going to equal, and we'll use screen.width again, and we'll just say 20 this time. And just to let you know, I most probably will change these values myself as we test things out. These are just starting values. They're just a good starting point, and I do advise you always to experiment and find values that suit your project. So once that's all saved off, we'll downsize that for now, and we'll create a new C# script. We'll call this player GUI. And And we're just going to attach this to the main camera. So just to let you know, I have a public domain font that I've put in the resources folder. You can obviously use any font you like. Just drag and drop into your resources folder. Unity will do the rest for you. I have a texture I created myself for the GUI frame. It's very simple, but will be sufficient for the tutorial. I'm just going to make sure that alpha is transparency is ticked. Hit apply. And now we have a transparent background with just the border frames. As always, I'll make any GUI I create myself available for the Patreons. But let's come back to the player GUI script. And what we're going to say is public GUI skin. And we'll give this a naming convention of underscore player GUI skin. And we'll quickly just put that into the comments. And this time we want public GUI style. Now, both these variables can be private, both the skin and style. And I'll show you in a minute how you load a GUI skin in from the resources folder, but I'm making these public for now so that you can see them working when we actually test the script out. So you probably want to do the same to begin with. Make them public so you can see them working, and if they are working and everything's fine, then obviously you can go ahead and set them to private. Now the next one is going to be for the public, and it's going to be for the texture 2D underscore, and we'll just call this GUI border. Close the line off to assign the GUI border texture. So let's just save that off for now. And we'll come back to Unity. We'll come to the main camera. So normally when we have variables like this public, we can just drag and drop like I'm going to do with the GUI frame here. But what we can do is we can do things a little bit differently. We're going to come to the resources folder. We're going to create, and I'm going to create a GUI skin. And I'm going to give this a name of player GUI skin. So you can see this here. So let's now come back to the script. And what we're going to do in the void start is we're going to say underscore player, and we're going to deal with the skin first. It's going to equal open and close brackets, inside the brackets GUI skin, end of the line, open and close brackets again. Inside those brackets we're going to say resources dot load. We're going to open and close brackets again, quote marks, and we're going to say player GUI skin. Now note again, this must be named perfectly with the skin. That includes capital and lowercase letters. So if you're unsure, best hit F2, copy, and then paste in, and you know it's 100% correct then. So I've just closed the line off, missed out a close bracket there. And we're going to say set the player GUI skin to equal the player GUI skin from the resources folder, and let's just save that off. Let's downsize for now. We'll come to the main camera, we'll hit play, and if we come to the player GUI script, the player GUI skin, as you can see, if I click here, it highlights here. It's now being assigned in code. So the question comes, why do things in this manner? Why bother to load from the resources folder rather than just assigning it in the inspector? And there's two reasons for this. So the first one is very simple. I just like to show different ways of doing things in these tutorial videos. The second one is some people don't like unnecessary variables clogging up the inspector. Like I said, now we've seen the skin is being applied, we can change that to private. Let's just save that off. And now it's vanished from the player GUI in the inspector, but it will still be assigned. That's not a problem. Obviously now you just cannot see because it's been made private, but you can see how this makes the inspector less cluttered. You may not mind that. Again, it's a personal preference thing, so but I will do this throughout this series, where I do the same thing but in different ways, and it will be for the same reason, just to show you different ways of doing things, and then you can obviously choose which way you prefer and use that going forward. So we'll leave it here for this video for now. As always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time, and as always, until then, bye for now.